Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter.
Hi there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome back to another edition of the Sunday Catch-Up. This time we'll be covering the month of March 2023, and as always I'm going to be answering your questions, but before we get into that, few little live channel updates, etc. So first of all, on the YouTube front, you may have realised that stuff is progressing as it has been so far this year. On the main channel here, on Martyn or AMTV as it's affectionately known, it's been a lot of the discussion videos. Now, as I've said, there's a few reasons for that. They are relatively more straightforward to make. It means I can get more content out to you guys more frequently, and also there's been a lot of topical stuff going on at the minute, and I just find it interesting to let you know my thoughts. Like, they are, opinion pieces and stuff, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, and that's completely fair enough, but I enjoy making them, so I hope you've been enjoying watching them. The support on the main channel has been amazing. As I'm recording this, we're almost at 29,000 subscribers, which is crazy, so if you haven't already, please do hit subscribe and come and join us. On AMTV now, I know it's been again mainly quiet apart from the Now reviews. I am still working on those Now deep dives that I talked about over there, and I do want to release the first one really soon. As I say, I'm just a bit hesitant on putting dates on things on any of the channels at the minute, because with everything being so busy and I don't have as much time to work on videos, let alone for 3 channels, it's harder to pinpoint that, but a deep dive should hopefully be coming soon. And then AMTV Who, again, we've had different kinds of videos. Weird Who's moved over there, we've had a What If video, we've done one of the latest unboxings, of course. So yeah, content should be maintained on all 3 channels. In terms of how often and different paces and stuff, that depends on what's going on, really. And in terms of life, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in my regular life right now, obviously working 2 jobs and trying to find acting work as well, and also just, other general life stuff. But, we move, and actually making content is it's a very nice break from all the real life stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and ready to answer your questions. So let's go. So we're kicking off with Frosty Cola 42 says, which is better, Wine Gums or Haribo Star Mix? That's a tough call because both are great, but I'm going to go for Wine Gums. I think they're consistently better across the board. We've got Tom Mason who says, have you seen any of the 2023 Eurovision national selections, different countries choosing who represents them? I've seen quite a few. With Eurovision, I always try and I try to hold off until at least the semi-finals before I get to listen to the songs. I make the semi-finals my first listen, if you will. Sometimes it gets spoiled in terms of songs get played on the radio or they get memed and stuff like that. So in terms of the national selections, focusing on ours, May Muller, I think it's a pretty banger song. I think we've got a solid chance. Will we win though? Not too sure about that. Jamie's World says, thoughts on TV industries? Do you think TV is dead as a lack of stuff on terrestrial TV? The TV industry is always going through a change, a shift, and particularly terrestrial TV is going through a tough time right now, that's for sure. But I think there's still a lot of content on there that a lot of people enjoy. As to what demographic that is, that remains to be seen. Ollie says, I thought of 2 ideas for documentaries, the digital switchover and the rise of digital TV. You'd like to see one of those. They're both definitely good topics. I think with those, since a lot of that is technical information, like the switchover from analog to digital and stuff, I'd feel like I'd want to do my research enough where I could accurately get that across, but not saying that can't happen, so yeah, maybe in the future. The Lothian Buses Hub says, when will the ident review for 4-7 come out? Because you're just wondering when that's coming out. 4-7 idents are a funny one. There's some of them I find interesting, some of them I don't, so I've always said with the ident review, I've got to have an interest in those idents themselves, so maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Remy Pictures says, what if Harry Hill uncancelled his TV burp? I don't see that happening in the near future, really. I think TV burp was very much a product of its time, of the first decade of the 2000s, and yeah, I don't think it's just going to come back. Jamie Melling says, you and your friends were hoping to go to Eurovision in Liverpool, but we couldn't get tickets, neither could I, don't worry about it. Are you interested in going? I know Liverpool is a city close to your heart. It certainly is very close to my heart, and I also tried to get tickets, but the Ticketmaster website, man, was just horrific, and we were thousands of places away from actually getting them. So, no, sadly, I won't be going to Liverpool to watch it live, but I will, of course, be watching on the telly. Max Jackson says, thoughts on Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish? I haven't seen it, but I've seen many people say it's actually, one of the best animated films of, the last few years. There's a great channel called Shea Frillis Productions. I'm sure some of you have heard of them before. Go and check them out. They do great videos on, animations, as well as a whole bunch of other things, but they covered The Last Wish, and they just raved about it. Game Man Gaming YT says, okay, so by the time you're recording this, UK's Eurovision entry is revealed. As you write in the comment, did you like the song? Is it Sam Ryder quality, good, or absolute trash? I think it's good. The song I wrote a song is a good banger. It's very like Euro poppy. It gives that like sort of 2000s vibe. I think it'll go down well in a lot of the European territories. I'd like to say, in terms of the competition, I think we'll definitely come left side of the board. I hope so, like the top half. I'd like to say we'd get top 10 comfortably. I'd even like to say we'd get top 5, but I don't know. Even though I haven't heard most of the competition yet, I've got a hunch. I don't think we're in for a win. But that's not against May. May's great. You know, she's a great talent. She's got a lovely personality as well from all the interviews I've seen. And the song's a banger, so that's a win for me, really. Squall Rowlandson says, what would you think of a Faulty Towers episode called LSD Towers, where Basil Fawlty accidentally takes LSD and hallucinates? That sounds bonkers. I think they could probably realise that better with, like, special effects today. Maybe not back then, but yeah, what a concept. Outside Inside says, here's a non-Doctor Who question. Apart from Sonic Heroes, what would be your other favourite Sonic game? That's hard because Sonic Heroes, that was my Sonic game, like the main one. If I'd had to pick another one, I'd probably go for Sonic Adventure DX, because I had that for PC, actually, and I did play that quite a lot. So yeah, probably Sonic Adventure DX. Kyle Wright says, have you heard of the band Spin Doctors? Vaguely, did they do was that the Tetris thing in the 90s, or am I thinking of something else completely? Isaac Wide says, any plans to bring back... You've said Overthink. I think you mean Overthinking. Not really, because there were so many problems like with copyright and stuff like that, so sadly not. Hassan Janae says, what happened to Sonia the Hedgehog and Manic the Hedgehog? What, from Sonic Underground? Man, I love that show. That show was a banger. Hopefully they pop back up in expanded media for Sonic. I don't think they have yet, but that would be really cool if they did. You've got Zachary Gatt here, who says, hope you're doing great. Thank you. And would you visit Malta if you had the chance? Funnily enough, I actually did visit Malta last year. I got to go there for the very first time. It's a very beautiful country. There's a lot of history there. A lot of history. Such a very important island, Malta, as well, throughout its history. So, yes, I've been, and it's a thumbs up from me. Great little country. Jordan Howell says, are you excited for the Super Mario Brothers movie? I'm cautiously optimistic. I'd like to go and see it, and I hope it's going to be good. But, you know, video game tie-ins, they ain't got the best history, so I'm hopeful, though. Hopeful. We Are STV says, what do you think of BT Sport and Eurosport rebranding as TNT Sports? If I'm honest, I didn't even notice that they did. TKF says, what happened to the AMTV crossover video, and what age rating was it? Oh, do you mean when I talked about the other AMTV? Oh, I think that was rated 15 at least, and I deleted it. I wasn't very happy with it, looking back. Roger Darthwell says, are you ever going to bring back Saturday Singles? Roger, mate, I'd love to. If it's going to come back at all, it'll probably come back on AMTV now, which is more focused around music, so that's probably where it'll be if it does come back. Blissful690 says, who does the chiptune remix of Rhythm is a Dancer for your Now review videos? You'd like to support them in any way you can and check out what else they've done. I will let you know right now. So the channel in question is 8BitLand with their chiptune version. They've only got 3 other videos, and it seems like they haven't uploaded in 7 years, so I appreciate what you're saying about wanting to support them. I'm not sure, though, if they're very much active on YouTube anymore. Joseph Adam says, any thoughts about second Doctor Patrick... You've put Broughton, I think you mean Troughton, on the collection box set later this year. Well, nothing's been confirmed, but I'd hope a Patrick Troughton box set will come out in the near future, at least. Artful Maverick says, what are your thoughts on the current status of physical media like DVDs and Blu-rays? In your view, it can be frustrating having films exclusively distributed on streaming platforms and no other format to watch them on. It is sad when a movie or a TV show doesn't get a physical release on like DVD or Blu-ray. However, sadly, I do think that's the way the industry's going. You know, it is leaning more towards streaming. It's been like that for a while. So, yeah, it is frustrating, but physical media is still alive. Time Lord Master 108 says, your question is, how about doing a video scaries on Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? You thankfully won't get copyrighted for using any clips. I love the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared series, both the original short YouTube videos and also the Channel 4 series, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it, but I just think, I don't know if I think I would get copyrighted, you know? So, but it's a potential, I suppose. Owen Co says, do you think game shows such as phone-ins and things like that should revive themselves on TV? Obviously, if they were run by a proper regulator this time. I don't know. I think, again, they were very much, they're an outdated concept now, so I'd scrap those, probably. Jake the Robo Nerd says, did you ever watch Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds and Stingray on BBC Two back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and what was your experience? Some of my earliest memories are watching Thunderbirds mainly in the early 2000s when they were on BBC Two. And I remember I liked it. I think it was all the different crafts and the storylines, and I got some VHS tapes as well. But yeah, that's my vague memory of that experience. Somebody says, if you could watch 3 TV shows for the rest of your life, what would you pick? Well, Doctor Who is the obvious first choice. BBC News would be a second, because then I can always stay up to date with what's going on. And a third show, it'd have to be a good game show, get the mind flex in, whether that's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, The Weakest Link, something like that. Evan Marnie says, who is your favourite character in the Sarah Jane adventures? I haven't watched SJA in such a long time. Well, aside from Sarah Jane herself, I actually really like the character of Rani. I think it's played really well, and it's just very engaging to watch, even like for kids, adults alike. So yeah, great character. Moves22 Allsworth says, do you prefer to book things online or on the phone? It depends on what the thing is. I think if it's generally like buying random things, I can do it online. I very rarely book things by phone. ITV Carlton 2 says, are you aware that UK TV Play bring the 4th series of the Heart because ITVX has no episodes of the show? Not quite sure what you're talking about, but okay. Diary Loser Camp 1997 says, is there going to be a Series 35 premiere episode of The Simpsons named The Blowman? I don't know. B, do you know anything more about the return of Neighbours? I know that they're filming sometime in April, and I think the episodes are going out later this year, so if you're a Neighbours fan, Christmas has come early for you, I guess. Matthew Payton says, did you know that Jake Wood appeared in Only Fools and Horses? I didn't. I've not really seen much of Only Fools. Chestnut Bloke says, by the time the Sunday catch-up is out, we should know of all the entries for Eurovision. Do you have any favourites? Well, the one for Austria, the Edgar Allan Poe one, that's going to be a soft spot favourite. But the one for Finland, Cha Cha Cha, genuinely a very good song. I think that might have a strong chance of winning. Farrington McCready says, favourite Target novel? Yours is Doctor Who and the Crusaders. Mine's probably Remembrance of the Daleks. Really strong Target novel there. Captain Psycho says, where are you from, Adam? Your accent isn't easy to pin down. I am from Yorkshire. Should I talk like that more? No, my accent is a bit all over, but yeah, Yorkshire. Fairrod the Capacitor says, would you like to see some BBC 2s as merch, and which ones would you like to see? I think I've touched on this before, but I'd love like the 90s 2s to get merch, like some of them to be enamel pin badges. I think that'd look really nice, or some of them to be made as like models or recreate the models and stuff. That could be great merch. Aidan Woodhead says, what are your thoughts on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003 series? You loved it as a kid, and it's the 20th anniversary of the year it started. That's true. I love that series. I watched it from day one. It's just such a very, for a kid show, it's a very mature series. Great stories adapted from the comics and stuff. Really strong. I just wish they'd release like a complete DVD or Blu-ray box set. Shame they haven't done that yet. Amy says, do you like trains? I do when they work, yeah, when there's not lots of delays and stuff. Trains are great. Blue Zone ESC says, what are your thoughts on the host for Eurovision and the UK's entry? Trying to remember who is host. Well, Graham Norton was like the shoo-in, wasn't he? That was always like guaranteed to happen. Alicia Dixon surprised me, to be honest, but you know, I'm sure she'll do a fine job. And the entry, as I've said, good entry. Don't know if we'll win, but I'd like to say it's top 10. Ribbalai says, do you ever get your teeth cleaned and polished by a hygienist? Well, I go to the dentist every now and then, as we all should do, but I don't go like, you know, every week or anything. The Kyle John 1 says, do you remember Bear in the Big Blue House? Of course I do. I think when I watched it, I was right at the end of like the demographic of it, so I never watched it for long, but I do remember it, of course. Ibrahim Animation says, can you do the Nickelodeon UK idents for 2013? I can't remember what they are. I'll have to have a look. PM says, will you do a video on RTE? Possibly. David Doom says, what are your thoughts on the JLS reunion tour later this year? It's always nice to see bands of like your childhood reform. I'm gutted I didn't get tickets. I don't know why I didn't try and get some, but yeah, I'm happy that they're back on the road. Frontios 101 says, since you're getting into Super Sentai series, would you like to do a few reviews of the Sentai series you've seen so far? I've never done like big series reviews like that. I'm not sure if I have the talent to organize a review of that scale, but I've only seen Die Ranger as well, which was very strong series. Jeff Davies says, did you know that Mika gets his toenails painted black every time he goes to the chiropodist? If that's true, great. Dr. Master says, Titanic was recently released in cinemas for its 25th anniversary. Did you go watch it? I did not. I've only seen Titanic a few times. It's a very long film, but I wasn't really bothered about seeing it in the cinema. Tim Goodwin says, what do you think of the Dragon Ball franchise? I've never really watched it or engaged with it. Maybe I should. Sushi Sunshine 2000 says, recently I've been watching an old American cartoon called Midnight Patrol Adventures in the Dream Zone. The cartoon premiered in 1990 and it aired on CBBC as Potsworth and Co. And basically you're seeing, did I watch it? No, I've never heard nor seen it, sorry. Toshiba fans and more, you're going to do an ident review on the BBC One Circles from 2006. I do want to make that video, and hopefully that'll come this year, hopefully in the near future. Watch that space. LJA, you've asked 4 questions. I'm only going to pick one. So I'm going to answer, what time is it? Well, the time is 3:47 p.m. Rebecca Fithian says, big up Lilo and Stitch. Absolutely. My question is, what is your favourite childhood cartoon or TV show? It's got to be Brum, hasn't it? There's something very timeless about Brum, even though it was very obviously shot in the 90s and early 2000s. There's something very, very wholesome, very timeless, and I just love it. I love it to death. Jenny T says, would you consider doing an episode on the Channel 4 Eastings? Possibly. I'm not really familiar with them. I might have to check those out. James Cooper says, for the next Sunday catch-up, have you heard that Gladiators is coming on BBC One this year for a new season? I didn't. When did that show end? That ended quite a while ago, didn't it? Well, like with all these reboots, they're either going to only be on sporadically or they're going to do really well. So we'll see how Gladiators does. And those are all your questions. Thank you very much for asking them. And as always, if you have something you want to ask me, anything at all, leave it in the comments down below of this video and it will be answered in next month's Sunday Catch-Up. In the meantime, thank you all so much again for watching and supporting the AMTV network. Let's cruise on past 29k and head towards 30. So like this video, leave your questions down below, subscribe to this channel if you're brand new or you haven't done already, and check out AMTV Now and AMTV Who as well. As always, I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Globe of Reviews, Derek Chambers, Sean Nock, Dord Khan, and Fabina UPC V2.0, our AMTV staff members.